please join our private Facebook group, Krays Crime Lords of London, where you'll find content probably unavailable elsewhere. We're friendly and you'll be made very welcome. But keep it quiet, just between me and you, okay?
At the material time, I was living in Birmingham. I used to come down to London to see my father and brothers from time to time. On the 27th of October 1967, I went to a club in Digbeth and Ray Mills was there. We agreed, as we were both going to London the next day, to meet at an old pub in Leman Street. On the 28th of October, I came down in my car, a Ford Corsair, and went round to my brother Tony's place at about 7:30 p.m. I told him I was meeting Ray Mills for a drink and asked him if he fancied coming. Tony knew Alan Mills but not Ray, and I knew Ray but not Alan. We went to a pub in Leman Street, the White Bear in Aldgate. We then went on to Wapping, and the Mills brothers joined us and we had a few drinks. We decided to go elsewhere and went to the Carpenter's Arms, which is a pub owned by the Krays. We had a couple of drinks there and I met Ronnie and Reggie Kray. I introduced them to the two Mills brothers and we were there for about 30 minutes. Ronnie Hart, Connie Whitehead, Pat Connolly and Old Man Kray were also there. After that, we went to the Queen's on Hackney Road. It was then decided to go to the Regency, a club in the East End owned by the Krays. Once the four of us were at the Regency, in the upstairs bar, we noticed Jack McVitie in the corner with someone else I did not know. I had known McVitie for some 3 years, and he joined us for a drink and was introduced to the Mills boys. McVitie was dodging about at the bar, and when it closed at midnight, he suggested we went downstairs. We agreed, but I personally did not want to be too long, because I had to meet a girl at 3:30 a.m. at Euston Station. While downstairs, I noticed Hart coming into the club with Whitehead, and he picked up a box with drink in it. Tony left us for a while. When he came back, he said that there was a party going on, and there seemed to be a general invitation all round. Bender said the twins were having a party. I was not very keen, but as the others wanted to go, including the two Mills brothers, I went along. I was going to get my car, but McVitie said we could all go in his motor, which was a beaten-up old Ford Zodiac, and we all got in. McVitie was driving. I was next to him. Tony and the two Mills brothers were in the back. McVitie had some drink in him, but he was certainly not drunk. The journey took 3 to 4 minutes, and then we parked outside an all-night bakery on a road opposite Carol Skinner's flat. We all got out and walked across the road. I didn't know if it was all right to bring the Mills brothers to the party in view of the Krays' animosity towards them, so I asked them to wait outside. Tony and I followed McVitie down the stairs, and by the time I got into the room, McVitie was already there. I noticed that there were only the two Krays, Hart, and two youths dancing. The music was very loud. Suddenly I saw Reggie Kray jump up on McVitie from behind and put a small gun up to the back of his head. Frankly, I thought it was a toy pistol. I heard him pull the trigger a number of times without success. Reggie turned around to Hart and said, "It doesn't fucking well work. You've given me a dud one." The Mills brothers were in the room by this time, having been brought down by Whitehead. I realised the importance of what was happening and I was in shock and upset. I left the room and had a terrible argument with Tony on the stairs, accusing him of setting up McVitie. Great confusion followed with comings and goings, and I sat down on the stairs and wept. I told Tony words to the effect that had I known about this, I would not have come. Reggie Kray came out of the room and asked what the trouble was. And I told him I thought it was a fucking liberty bringing me over like this. And he said, "Don't be stupid," and went back into the room. I saw McVitie in a chair talking to Ronnie. I said to Tony, "Who do they fucking well think they are? God, I'm going to get a shooter." We went upstairs and just got outside the front door when we met Bender. He said, "Is the party still on?" And I told him what was going on. And he said, "Don't be a silly cunt. Go and have a drink. This is all a joke." So we went downstairs again, and I saw the Krays and McVitie still shouting. And again I tried to leave. And then I heard one of the Krays shout, "Don't let anyone leave the house." And I said I wanted to leave. And then I said I'd go and get another shooter. This was a ruse, but this time I was terrified. Reggie told Whitehead to drive me around to my house and pick up a gun. I thought the Krays had gone mad. I went in Whitehead's white Jaguar and he dropped me off at my house. I picked up my gun. I was in a hurry to get back because my brother Tony was there together with the Mills brothers, and I thought anything could happen to them. Whitehead was not anxious to go back, and we had an argument lasting about 10 minutes. Eventually he took me back and I rang the bell of the house and Bender opened the door. He said, "It's all over." I said, "Fucking hell, what's happened?" I went into the room and saw McVitie lying on the floor under the window, dead. I couldn't believe he was dead. I thought at first he was just badly injured. The Krays had gone and Tony and Bender were in a terrible state, and I was terrified. Bender said we've been told to sling him over the railway lines at Cazenove Road, and I said, "You can't do that, it's fucking stupid." And then I thought for a short while and I said, "We will put McVitie in a motor and dump the car on the other side of the water." We rolled the carpet up and I got a candlewick bedspread from upstairs and rolled McVitie up inside it, and we put him in the passageway. There were bloodstains on the floor. I cleared it up and emptied it all down the toilet. McVitie had been lying under the window on his back, with his legs doubled up underneath him. His eyes were open, and his head was nearly severed off. There was dark brown liquid oozing out of him. Carol Skinner was standing at the top of the stairs with Ronnie and Georgie Plummer. Bender told them that there had been trouble downstairs, and she was to go into the bedroom and stay there. We cleared up as much as possible. I put my gun in a pram in the spare room, and Tony went out and got his car. I walked around and got my car from the Regency. McVitie's body was put into his own car. Tony drove it with a pair of socks on his hands, while Bender and the body were in the back. I followed in my car. We went through the Rotherhithe tunnel and then round the one-way system, and eventually we stopped outside a church opposite a new block of flats. There was a lot of confetti on the pavements after a recent wedding. We left the car and the body there. Bender and Tony got into my car, and we returned north of the river and then dropped Bender off at the other end of the tunnel. We went to Tony's house and had a cup of tea, and then I remembered I had left the gun in a pram in Carol Skinner's flat. We went to Euston Station and picked up the girl I had to meet, and then to Skinner's flat. The girl stayed outside. It was around 4 a.m, and Tony had not wanted to come. Carol Skinner opened a door. Vicky, Whitehead and Plummer were there. They were washing everything in sight, the floor, the walls, but there was thick blood under the lino, and I cleaned this up. I then asked Carol to make some tea, and while she did, I slipped out and got the gun. Then we left. The following Monday week, I went down to London again from Birmingham, and Tony gave me a message that the Krays wanted to see us. Needless to say, I was scared stiff because I felt that if they had done this to McVitie, they could equally do this to us. Tony did not want to go, but I felt that if we didn't, the Krays would suspect us. We went to the Carpenter's Arms, and Ronnie and Reggie were there with Dixon, Donahue and Hart. Reggie, I remember, asked me if I wanted a drink, and although I was scared, I said to him it was a fucking liberty what happened. I asked him what was wrong with McVitie. Was he a grass? Was he a bad man? And Reggie said no, he was none of those. He was just a fucking nuisance, and said that it was just unfortunate that it happened like that and I was to forget it. Then he said, "Don't worry, We had to get rid of your car because your prints were all over it with Tony's and the Mills brothers. Relationship with the Krays. I first met the Krays casually in 1963, but not until August 1967 did I drink with them. This arose when Hart told me the twins wanted to see me, and I went to the Carpenter's Arms with Tony. As a result, they told me that if I should spread the word around about them at the Grand Hotel in Leicester, and they made some money from it later, I would be paid a commission. They invited me to drink at the Carpenter's Arms when I was in London. I was aware of the power they held, but I was at no time a member of their firm. After I had been questioned by the police about the McVitie affair, I was very upset, and the Kray twins knew this and told me not to worry and got Carol Skinner to take me to Sampson's solicitors. I saw Manny Fried, the Krays solicitor, and he wanted to refer me to Ralph Haeems, since he was not there. I was asked to return at 5 p.m, which I did. I made a statement to him at his request, and I was asked what the police had said and how they had treated me. I was asked to come back the next day. Haeems said, "You will never be charged." The twins had it all okayed, but I did not go back. After my arrest, I asked to see a solicitor, and the police were told it was Sampson's because I had already been to see them. Eventually, I saw Ralph Haeems at West End Central, and he told me to tell the police nothing. The next day at Bow Street, Manny Fried came into the cell, and he said it will never get past the magistrates and warned me to say nothing. I was sent with Bender to Wandsworth, and my brother Tony was sent with the Krays to Brixton. On the following Wednesday, I made a statement in my own handwriting on 3 foolscap pages. This did not set out the account as I have put it down, truthfully above, but involved the Krays and told the essence of what happened. I gave it to Ralph Haeems, and he read it and said that he would have to show it to the Krays. I told him not to show it to them, but he said he would have to. 2 days later, Haeems came back and said that the twins had said that it was not to be used. I went on about it to him, and he kept on reminding me that Tony was in Brixton with the Krays. He said, "You have got to do it their way. The twins say that they weren't there, and you have got to help them." He then told me that I had nothing to worry about because the twins had a lot of power. He altered the statement, and I was told what to say. Just before the trial, we all went to Brixton for a joint meeting with Haeems, the Krays, Bender, and my brother Tony. Haeems told me again that the twins were very upset about my statement and inferred that they were angry with me. When I saw Ronnie, he was livid with me and said, "Are you fucking well? Putting us in it?" He was swearing and shouting, and I quite honestly thought I was going to get done. Haeems was present during the whole outburst. Whatever I said always went back to the Krays, and whenever I saw counsel, someone from Sampson's was always there. I knew I could not change solicitors because the Krays had told me that I had got to think about my family. I knew that their power extended well beyond prison walls, and I thought it was more than my life was worth to go against them. I asked Haeems to call witnesses Vicky, Hart, Georgie Plummer, and the 2 youths, Terry and Trevor, whose names we gave them and whose address they already knew. But he refused and said that he could do nothing that would affect the twins. It is only now that I realize that something can be done.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.
Leave a like and subscribe.